Burry Stander and Cherise Taylor, South Africa's golden cycling couple, joins us once again on our Purple Couch to discuss the do's and don'ts before a big cycling event. Good morning, guys, and welcome back.
Morning, thanks.
Cherise, preparation, let's say 2 days before a big race such as the cycle tour, what is it that you do?
For me, I have my certain stuff that I do before every race, and the cycle tour is no different. 2 days before an event, I like to take it easy, maybe have a complete rest day or have a really relaxed 1 hour coffee shop ride. The day before a race, I go into my leg opener and I do a couple of intervals just to make sure that the legs are ready for the race the next day. You don't want to have a too easy ride the day before the race, otherwise your legs might just get into the sleepy mode the next morning. Then the rest of the day consists out of checking your bike, checking your bolts, making sure that everything is right. You want to do as less as possible on the morning of the race. So the night before, I'll put up my number, I'll pack my bag, make sure all my shoes and stuff are clean, and just basically do that normal type of stuff so that you don't have to worry about the morning of the race.
Okay. And Burry, what about from a nutritional side?
Yeah, I think from a nutritional side, it's important that 2 days from the race, you start focusing on taking enough carbs. I think a lot of people have this idea of carbo loading, as they call it. I typically think we probably just focus on having a few more carbohydrate meals included, where we spoke previously of having lighter meals in the evening. But obviously that's to keep the weight down. Typically before an event, you're not worried about that. So definitely in the evenings, you want to make sure you have your carbs, your lean meats, but keep it balanced as you do throughout your normal sort of eating habits from a day-to-day basis. You don't want to change too much just before the race. And then basically you would have had your energy drink or your recovery drink that you've been using up until this point. Definitely 2 days before the race, it's no time to change. For us, we typically would have, instead of one recovery shake, we'd have two leading up to the race. And then also, I've always believed in a thing called phosphate loading. Now, what that is loading your body with salts. And this is the best way to buffer lactic acid and also improves your VO2 max. So the easiest ways for me to do that is in tablet form with VO2 max and also cramp block. This will also help you with cramps during the race. I know a lot of people struggle with that, especially if in the cycle tour you're going to be out there for 6 or 7 hours and it's really hot. You definitely want to have salts in your body, and it's also not a case of doing it on the day. It's basically loading with it. If you know you have problems with cramps, I actually have a big problem with cramps. Yeah. So it's something I have to focus on for 2 or 3 days leading into a long endurance event.
So you can't just the night before quickly stock up on whatever things you need?
No, your body is like a sponge, you know. You definitely want to, your body can store more if you sort of implement it into your diet a few days in advance. And then typically through the race, I think I've mentioned it before, small amounts, and a lot of it.
Now, Cherise, a commonly asked question, should you eat just before the race? What do you say?
I don't believe in eating just before the race. Specifically for the cycle tour, you would want to eat a while before the race, but not 3 hours, maybe 2 hours ahead of the race. Have your breakfast just so that your body can digest it, so that when you get on the start line, it is in your body and you can start using up the energy that you've taken in.
All right. So, and if you do need to eat, a couple of hours before the race, I suppose?
Yeah, well, 2 hours before the race, have your breakfast, and then as soon as you get into the race, within the first 15 kilometers, start taking in your energy bars or your typically like sandwiches or whatever you feel like having on the bike.
Now, if you could run me through a quick list, let's say if you can create a quick list of do's and don'ts on the race day, what would you say that is, Burry?
Well, definitely don't change anything to your bike. Equipment, you might have just got that new pair of white shoes that's very tempting to show off on race day. But if you haven't got them a week in advance, set up your cleats with your pedals, anything like that, saddles, handlebars. People a lot of times, experienced racers have technical problems because of changing equipment just before the race. And, I've done it before, I've been there. Trust me, it happens, and 9 out of 10 times, something is going to go wrong. And the same with nutrition. Definitely, what works for something might not work for you, and your buddy has this new energy drink that's magical, and you want to try it on race day, and you get sick because of it. So it's definitely not something that's worth it on the day. Stick to what you know. And then, as Cherise mentioned before, on race day, you don't want to be too rushed before the race. Make sure that everything is ready. You know what the route is that you're going to take to the start line, what time you need to leave, what the traffic conditions can be like. All things like that add up at the end of the day, and you want to get to the start line with as little stress as possible. And definitely, if you can relax the day before, it's also going to help.
Well, guys, thank you so much once again for a nice chat with you guys here on Expresso. We'll see you guys again tomorrow.
Thanks for having us.
Some good advice from pro-cyclists Burry and Cherise. Now join us again tomorrow because we'll be talking about how to keep your body nourished during a big cycling race. See you then.